I want to cover off a few things that have happened in my career. For those of you who don't know, this quote is by Marshall McLuhan. I love this quote. There are no passengers on Spaceship Earth, we are all crew. If you haven't recognized it by now, this is not easy. Who's new to the agency? Who's the person who started on Monday? Who's those people? Who started Monday? Oh, welcome. I love the crocodile arms too, by the way. Your arms should be up like that, probably, until next week. Then your arms are like, okay. Who's new to this marketplace? Who's just fresh out of marketing school? There are some really young people. This young lady here with the long blonde hair, you're incredibly young. Are you an intern or some shit like that? You guys are so young. This is the truth. This is the hardest business to be in. When Andy talks about marketing as being easy, that's because he's the CEO, goddammit. He's not the person running strategy, which they will tell you this is really hard. Why? Because there's 8 billion people that you have to stand in front of, as Joe said, and captivate the shit out of them. It's hard. But I'm going to tell you a couple of things. If you didn't Google me, let me give you my resume in about 2 minutes. I used to run 13 countries, the head of media and marketing for AOL, Europe. So I had a very big job. The UK was my largest marketplace. So I lived in London for almost 10 years, and I've been to Birmingham once to buy a Vespa. That's a whole nother discussion because I thought that shit was a suburb of London. And boy, did I get that story wrong. But welcome to the internet. So this is me when I was on a TV show in America called the MSNBC The Cycle. And I turned up with a title called The Prophet. I wear black nail polish normally, I have big hair. And the American rods and cones completely lost their marbles. Could not reconcile with this crazy dude working for AOL. So they tried to come after me. Has anybody in here been bullied? Cyberbullied, yeah? Feels rough, doesn't it? Dude at the very back, yes? It's tough, isn't it? Yeah, you're not going to talk to me like, dude, don't bully me now. But here's what's up. When the trolls come after you, you have a choice. You either cower in the corner and figure that shit out, or you just embrace it. So I embraced it. So I enjoyed the celebrity of it all, and these guys just made me more popular. God bless them. So I get to write about a bunch of stuff. I get to hang out with people with celebrity books. I get written about stuff. I think the internet needed to be punked. I talked about AI 10 years ago, so head of AI, God bless you. I'm also a walking, talking meme. So if you did not Google me, you'll find some of this shit. Designer in the House, The Noun Project, I'm one of their icons, so if you want to dick around with that. Minnie designed a car off me, that's called The Murdered Shingy. I'm in a kid's book. I get love notes, I get hate letters, I get it all. But I'm a proper walking, talking meme, apparently. So lots of this shit happens to me all day. Somebody quoted me as the one-man culture McKenzie, the head of Bang & Olufsen Sound, a direct competitor for Cambridge, said that I'm the one-man culture McKenzie, which I'm here for. I publish a book, magazine, sorry. This is my magazine version. This is Imogen Heap. I did a long-form interview with her and a walk and talk. I designed a book, and I'm about to publish it. I did it in the last 48 hours. I set a challenge to say, can I write a book in 48 hours as a birthday gift to myself, because it was last Sunday, and that's what I'm doing. It's going to the publishers today, and it's called the /Gen. Why the /Gen? Because I hang out with kids. So this is me hanging out at Fancy University, because I hang out with university types and night schools and high schools. And the reason I do that is I want to understand where the cultural moments are. I do meetups around the world. I hang out with famous people, blah, blah. I got spoofed in Netflix. I hang out with this lot. And apparently on television, there's a show called Inventing Anna. Do we know that show? You know that she was this Russian chick was dating an Asian dude? They thought that shit was me, dude. They think all us Asians look the same or something. Fuck you. But the reality is, that's my babe. So do your research, Google. But here's what's up. We're at the cusp of the 4th Industrial Revolution. So we've got right into it today. Andy just jumped into, here's what we're doing. Great, but why are we doing it? Why is it changing? Because the 4th Industrial Revolution has come out of nowhere. You started with steam, and then along came electricity, and then computing, which you've been facing all day. But the 10 years this thing has been creeping up at us. Artificial intelligence or human intelligence. Intelligence is the disruptor. And what I mean by that is that here's the secret little tool that nobody wants to tell you about. If it can be automated, it will be automated. Whoever designed the dashboard thing that you've got internally now, you know what I'm talking about. It is amazing efficiency that can be pulled into those things. Your job is likely to be automated-ish. So if you are sitting there thinking, I think a machine can do this job, you might want to talk to Andy and Sarah about doing something else inside the agency. Because this shit is coming. I promise you. And I'll tell you why. What's this? Anybody know what these are? Am I the only person that's old enough to know what the hell these are? These are Pantone squeaky markers, you little shits. This is how we used to design stuff. My God. So this is this is my computer. And then I was the last school of classic graphic design. If you want to sit at drinks and talk about Galliard versus Bembo versus Garamond, I'm your dude. But here's what's amazing about that. I graduated from school, people said, dude, design is dead. You've actually studied the wrong industry. I'm like, wait, what happened? Like, design is dead, dude. I'm like, what? Why? They said, well, there's this thing coming. It's called DTP. Anybody know what this is? Who said desktop publishing? Finally, somebody. Thank you. I'm going to hug you, dude. Desktop publishing. This shit is the AI of my generation. That was. Scared the pants off all of us. Why? 16.7 million colors, 256 fonts. Everybody had an inkjet printer on their desk. Done. We were dead. And the industry took a dive. For the last 2 years, it did. Just like AI is scaring the pants off everybody. True or false? You can't all be sitting here going, oh, AI's the pants. It's not. For a bunch of you, you're like, oh my God, am I done? Maybe. But I can tell you what, once you've got those democratized tools, you end up with a place like this. So I went from having designed with artboards like this and bromides and letrosets and woohoo to that. Baby was pushed in the corner to learn on that shit, dude. And I was like, what is that? That was my computer, and that was the software. In the revolution, that's the resolution of the time, man. So when you sit here and go, oh, Canva's hard. Screw you. You want it hard? Go back to that shit and try and figure out how to come up with ads. Hard work, man. So maybe I'll just downtone this to you where you guys might understand. Anybody have a flip phone back, or one of these phones back in the day? Please show me your hand. Oh, yay. Anybody buy a ringtone? Anybody buy a ring? Oh! What'd you pay for it? Lady with the bright colours, you.
I want to say
£2. Do you remember what it was?
I remember one with rainbows, the rainbow theme too.
What the hell? Rainbows and yeah, she's very happy looking. Where's my macabre brothers? Who's a dude who bought one? Anybody? What'd you pay, dude? What was it? Have you got a microphone next to you? You hear that? It's like that voice of God from nowhere. Amazing. You just happen to have a mic with you? This fucking guy. All right, how much you pay, dude? Bullshit, it's probably who let the dogs out or some shit. That's what you look like to me, man. Come on. But here's what's up. Anybody know how much that market was worth in 2006? Ringtone market, $250, 99p. Anybody know how much this market was worth? $6 billion. The iPhone came out, what year? Year after. If you hear a ringtone, you're like, what is wrong with that idiot? Unless you're on Android, because you guys like to run that shit loud and proud. But otherwise, it's weird, no? In fact, if people call you, like, what is that thing? But here's what's up. If you are pitching, if you're inside the agency, you're going to do an investment deck like this guy wants you to do now for your KPIs, here's the deal. This is every single pitch deck on planet Earth has these ingredients. Anybody want to tell me what the number one ingredient is for success? Come on. Yay, you, the one that was bullied. Thank you. I'm not here to bully you, brother. I'm here to love you. Yeah, you are 19 feet tall, by the way. You're the longest arm I've ever seen.
Is it the idea?
The idea is absolutely not true, but thank you. Dude, timing. I'll give you a hug too, my man. Most people say, oh, it's about the team. Bullshit. I don't want to see pictures of your team, man. I want to know, is the timing correct? Because if you look at something, and I lead the horse to water with the ringtone space, it's all about timing. And if it isn't about timing, you've got to bully your way through that thing. Amen. But here's what's up. If you think about it, people are like, well, if this is what was happening in our industry, we need to understand disruption. Have we used that word much today? Maybe once or twice, no? Well, I'm going to use it 10,000 times now just to make sure the buzzword is up. But disruption is what people rush to, like, oh, we're being disrupted. If you're using the word disruption, you are being disrupted. Too late. So you have to think about what that is. Everyone will then say, well, our brand needs to be an experience. Beautiful. Cambridge Audio, experience brand. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Everything about that. Feel the hearing, sound. Oh. But if you really think about what it is, it's about transformation. So your role really within any organization is to figure out how you're transforming to meet the needs and desires of those 8 billion people on planet Earth. Because here's what's up. Transformation's happening around you with or without your permission, and that's why we're at the cusp of that industrial revolution. Don't you get a little bit nervous when you see these sparklies turn up on every single interface on planet Earth? Everyone is so on the AI game, it is so rotten to me. Because we're being experimented on in real time. And it freaks me out, dude. Every time I open up Google, I'm going to get a sucking result. And what's amazing is, so is everybody else asking about that. Because it feels like everything has changed in nothing. Stay with me. If you are curious about AI, there are 4.5 billion search results in Google. The thing that's ironic to me is people are using Google to search on AI and not using AI to search on AI. It's like a self-fulfilled prophecy. It's very strange to me, or the snake eating its own tail, however you want to play it. But the second largest search term is this. Is AI useful? Yes, it is. It's incredibly useful. It's incredibly helpful. We can get into it at drinks. Here's an eye chart. Is it useful? Yeah, for all of this stuff. And I'm sending you a copy of this deck with some links to a bunch of AI tools I've personally reviewed, so you don't have to, or you don't have to harass the new AI guy too, dude. Just go and check these things out. It's incredibly useful. But I do want to tell you something. When you're an organization thinking about AI, the first thing you need to do is work the opposite of what you think it should be. The first thing you do is solve a problem through a use case. Not, what's the tool I can use? You're not asking the right question. The right question is what I'm trying to solve. Do you have the skills inside your organization to solve it? If you do, great. If you don't, hire in, better even, hire within. But up to you. Data. Do you have enough first-party data of your own to make AI useful to your data set? Because you're all being experimented on third-party data. If you don't, acquire it. Is the technology right? If not, build it. Last one is, what will it do to your culture of your organization? And most people don't think about that enough, and that's the biggest impact. So as you go forward, thinking about how AI can be an enablement, which I'm thrilled it is, because I've seen your AI work today, it's beautiful. But most organizations don't think about the cultural impact of what those tools will do. Because it certainly ruined my career for many years as a designer, which I did not stay for a long time. Hey, quick test. Out of these brand iconographies, quick show of hands if you think number one is AI. Design agency? None. Number two, AI or design agency? Beautiful. Number three, AI, design agency? Oh, this is really interesting. Number four, AI or design agency? Okay. Number five, AI or design agency? Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, here's the data. First two, all AI. That brief was the hardest design brief I've ever written. Whew. Number three, Fiverr. That's a $15 logo. Looks like a $15 logo to me too, heads up. Number three, a very expensive brand agency. Sorry, number four, that one. Number five is the one the client went with. That's me, by the way, so thank God. But here's what's up. When we think about this, your job is to understand that the evolution of AI is going to happen with or without your permission. So where I want you to stay rock and roll is the revolution of your intelligence. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So if you're sitting here thinking, I could be the best prompt queen, you've got to get that out of your cycle. It's not right. It's already there. You can use AI to give you the right prompts to do this stuff. That's the power of automation. What I want you to think about is what are the AI tools that are coming to keep you abreast of where it's going. So there's a bunch of Australian startups that I'm watching that are actually looking at mind-reading AI. Why am I looking so far forward in the future of AI? Because I've already been talking about it for over 10 years. Remember back in 1996, before some of you were born, IBM was beating the human in chess. It's not new. It feels cycled. But I will tell you that there is no adoption curve. So, Andy talked about J-curve earlier today. J-curve is about as where it goes. It's just a rocket now. Let me show you this eye chart, just for shits and giggles. This is what technology adoption used to look like. When the advent of the gorgeous color TV turned up in the 70s, we no longer have adoption curves. Don't ever talk about them. You're speaking of the dead. It's all just about these rockets of adoption or not. And there's nothing in between anymore. And here's what's incredible. When we think about the power of AI, it can only ever be done with data. Now, AI, as we all know, is effectively large amounts of data in some sort of machine-learned experience. And guess what? This industry's been doing it for a long time. Remember this piece of work? Isn't that amazing? But that was AI in the wild with some human intelligence. Stunning. Yet we all sit back and think, oh, it's all about this, isn't it? Memes.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Need delivery? Pizzas come fast. Knock knock, who's there? Pizza magic. Eat Pepperoni Hug Spot pizza. Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, Pepperoni Hug Spot. It's like family, but with more cheese.
Okay, who's seen this? Or a version of it, the Starbucks version, the McDonald's version. These things are like 5 years old. This is not new. But we're passing them around like, oh, don't worry about it, it does that. No, it doesn't. It does amazing work like this from Cadbury. This is an example of the #1 actor in the world. Cadbury decided to take this actor's voice, his like, and his appearance, AI the hell out of that thing, and he does 1,000 hyper-geo-targeted local ads. Do you think that, firstly, do you think that actor would ever want to do that work? No. 2, do you think they could afford to do that work? No. So there's incredible ways to think about AI for efficiency, not just for experimentation. And this is a very, very, very good practical example of that happening.
The French women's national team is drawing attention with a new ad.
Publicité, je sais pas si vous l'avez vu, elle est incroyable.
Tem comercial que tá bombando, né?
É sensacional.
Best marketing I have ever seen.
It is the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
It's the best ad I've seen anywhere.
The exact kind of thing that would go viral.
Stop what you're doing and watch this right now.
Ouais, c'est passé. Oh, oui, c'est passé. Oh, oui. Les Bleus qui reviennent dans le match.
Et on a encore le droit de rêver. Oh, qu'est-ce que c'est ce missile?
Avec le pied droit. Ah, il va être direct.
Ça passe.
Le centre en retrait. C'est ça, le football qu'on aime.
Oh my God, it's so good.
2-minute video, the footage rewinds.
The VFX are removed. It is in fact the elite French women's teams.
Pegou futebol feminino.
Ils en réalité, ce sont les femmes de l'équipe de France.
You guys have done some work around dog spaces. This is incredible. This is a pet care brand from Mars. They decided to take these dogs and put them on digital billboards. And the idea here is, yes, buy this product, but these dogs are adoptable. Amazing. Look how beautiful these dogs are. How did they able to make those beautiful photos? Clearly not by photographing the dog. They took their terrible mugshot and just made these incredible versions of these digital billboards for these dogs. And as they get adopted, they get taken off the ads. That is a beautiful version of AI. It's not all dystopian. It can be. And you can create dystopian AI very, very, very quickly. It also is great for the dreamers. So if you're thinking, well, what could it really be great for? Look, just take this. A historical character, what would she look like today? We've all seen these beautiful versions. What would it look like if you took a character from Frozen, and what would she be like today in urban warfare? Amazing. But here's what I'm going to tell you. So here's the bad news. There's going to be about 10% of jobs in the ad world that are going to be fully automated. So pretty small. It's not that bad, actually. But the truth is this. Of all jobs in the ads world, this is predictive from sort of HR numbers, by 2030 it will be like less than 10%. I think that number's probably grossly underrated, just because we're going to get fed up in it. Because here's what happens. A lot of people in here, well actually not in here, none of you are going to be this, but a lot of people outside those doors hate their job. It just is what it is. And there's a reason why. And part of it is there's this change that's happened. Because you're going to spend 80% of your waking life at work. So if you don't dig your job, or if you end up sleeping on your job, whoever had the, you mate, yeah, when you were falling asleep doing the Davy afternoon break, your waking life is spent at work. It's 90,000 hours. So if you don't dig your job, come and talk to your bosses about how you can do something that will give you much more satisfaction in your life. Because we're a disconnected generation, and you do not have to stay that way. So let me give you a quick history lesson. Back when we were hunters and gatherers, we would spend 15 hours a week working. It's not lost on me that that guy and I share the same haircut, but whatever did, I do need one. But this was back when we were hunters and gatherers, 15 hours a week hunting. Beautiful. But today, with this modern technology, we were told that we were going to have far more efficiency and only work 40 hours a week. Anybody in here only work 40 hours a week? Yeah, if you put your hand up. Yeah, it's going to be a hot conversation. I mean, if I clock in like 80 hours a week or something and I still feel like I'm failing. That's our society. And by the way, When was the time that all the technology was going to get micro? My phone is so big, it throws off my hips, dude. I need to walk around with a Merce and whatnot now. I've got bloody laptop and an iPad and a goddamn phone the size of my head. I mean, it's ridiculous. And look, the truth is, what's happened is that all of these cultures around work has changed. Are you 5 day a week? No. You are 5? Most aren't. Most of this, you heard of this? TWT. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's a new 5-day week. I'm like, what the hell happened to us? You need to be around people to be creative. And when you need isolation, God bless and get on with it. Find that time. But TWT is new, so the work culture is fundamentally changing. But so are the values of the business. So I haven't gone through your values, but if you do not follow these types of values, giving back to your community, being very locally focused, caring about social issues and being kind, you are not in lockstep to cultural manifestations. And work should be a reflection of that because you spend 90,000 hours in your job. It's nuts. So, as marketers, it was people to brands and brands to people. Yes? Super easy, yeah? Hardest job in the world. Why? Because you got to deal with these little shits. Every single one of us are corralled into one of these piles according to Harvard. You're a fulfiller, a maker, achiever, a striver, a believer. This is what we call psychographics, as you know. Who's the data czar in the room? No? Who's the head of data? Brother. When somebody comes to you and says, hey, this brand over here wants to do a data run on people, what do? Do we look up some personas?
Well, analyze their existing data sets.
God bless. And then you'll do a data run, won't you, on personas, audiences. Do you think, or no?
Look into different platforms, understand the audiences and platforms as well, and eventually...
Yeah, just say yes. God bless. Here's what's up. We do persona runs, don't we? I used to run media, remember? So I do this sort of shit. Born in the UK, raised in the UK, 1948 was when he was born, wealthy, lived in a castle, divorced, blah, blah, and as obviously it could be Chuckles, or it could be this cat. You think these guys live similar lives? Actually, probably. I met Charles. I used to do work for the Prince's Trust. I've never met a harder hand. For anybody who met him, his handshake is the hardest handshake and the hardest hand I've ever felt, which kind of blew my mind. But anyhow, my point is these two cats live 2 different lives. And I would recommend that when you go to our data czar friend, he just tried to, bullshit the hell out of me or whatever the hell he was doing, here's what's up. Ask for archetypes. Let's look for predictive modeling on audiences that are very, very different. And I'm not talking about brand archetypes like the sage and the I'm not talking about the brand archetype. I'm talking about you. Because those archetypes are very, very, very different today than the types of modeling you do with data runs because it's too predictive. And please stop this. Do you use the word omnichannel here? Thank God. Thank you. That's a very furious no. Coming from the non-data czar. No. And if you're a client in the room, please stop using this word. It is absolute bullshit. Because it's really about an ecosystem. As somebody wakes up at 8 o'clock in the morning, do you have permission to be in their life? And if so, are you useful? Are you adding value? And if you are going to be here as a unit of measurement is called value, then you are in this game, the ecosystem game. And the truth is, most aren't. And you have to be okay with that because you should be amazing to them when they want you to be amazing. That's it. But your job now is to be a 360-degree radius of people's needs and desires on planet Earth. That's it. It is super hard. So if a client comes to you and says, hey, we just want to stick in our lane and be the best at, no, they're not going to survive, so don't bother. Don't answer that brief. Let's look at what they're doing to add value to somebody's life in a 360-degree radius of this ecosystem. Because otherwise, you're called irrelevant. If you want to harass me at the bar, and I am hanging around all night for as long as you want, we can talk about this shit if you want. But most people want to harass me. I travel a lot and speak a lot around these topics. AR, VR, MR, RR, privacy, schemas, design, blockchain, UX, UI, whatever you want to talk about, I'm happy to do it. But this is fundamentally stuff I don't care about. I got into the industry because of fun. Amen. But the reality is this. Fun got sucked out of our industry when we stopped trusting each other. You don't trust me, I don't trust you, I don't trust the weather. I don't trust politics, I don't trust religion. There's so many things not to trust. But the relationship you have with the people you work with, that should be an amazing trust. I also need an excuse to give you a Pomeranian trust fall. Otherwise, these slides are going to be useless. If nothing else, I give you this as my gift. Right. But here's what I can tell you. Being around for 1,000 years, technology has fundamentally changed your behavior. There is research coming out that's showing that the physical shape of a human's neck is evolving. It probably took 10,000 years for our tail to fall off, but it's taken 1 generation for us to become a goddamn rubberneck. And it's nuts to me, man. But I can tell you that because our technology has changed our behavior, the one thing that it hasn't changed is our need. The needs and desires of humans' DNA is always rooted in the similar thing. And that's great if you can captivate it, which is why people want to know who this connected human is. So let me give you a quick sort of update. So if you roll back to what Stu was talking about with the DeLorean, that's the original one, if you guys need a reminder of that. If we met in around 2014, that would have been me, a hyper-connected ass. Because at the end of the day, I just wanted to understand what all of this data was doing on me, and it wasn't that exciting. But I can tell you that one thing that's happening is this thing called nostalgia. I'm the buzzword king, so I came up with my own term. That's nostalgia. Whatever, dude, stay with me. Quick test. Who in here has an LP player? Everybody that worked on Cambridge Audio, God damn it. We got the rich people in the house suddenly all of a sudden. Okay, great. Ripper, when was the last time you bought an album? One Arm Bandit, when was the last time you did? Sorry, what's your name, brother? What is it? Daniel. Oh, it's not One Arm Bandit after all. When was the last time you bought an album, mate? Yeah, get the mic if it's going to be this long. It's like a goddamn therapy session, dude. It's a quick question. Oh, fancy. How much you pay for that? 20. Oh, cheap ass. Anybody else buy an LP recently? How much you pay, bro? What was it? I just want to judge you. Taylor Swift. He's a Taylor Swift.
Album of
oh, there he is.
Old Stevie Wonder.
Oh, beautiful.
Like Stevie Wonder.
Okay, nostalgia. Ripper. You, brother?
About 30 quid.
Yeah. Oh, now we're back. Okay, about 30 quid. You've got an LP player, don't you? You sure as shit look like you do. What did you buy? What did you buy? Taylor Swift.
No, not
Taylor
Swift.
Just checking.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's okay.
It would be like an Everly Brothers or something.
Oh, wow, yum. Okay, all of this speaks to nostalgia. LPs are the pants, and they're also a massive, it's almost $2 billion. This industry is almost $2 billion. What about this? Anybody have an analog camera? Hey! Shit. Hey, when was the last time you took that out, brother? Yeah, you. Where do you live? Here? Every day. What do you got? Wow. So it's incredible because when you think about this, everybody thought, oh, analog cameras are dead, dude. No, 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 no. This is almost a $4 billion marketplace. If you and I went down to London and hang out in Brick Lane where I used to live, there'd be a bunch of hipster doofuses with these cameras walking around. And it's incredible because what they're also buying is what? Photo albums and film. It's amazing. But I'm telling you this because there's a reason why people are going for this. We're in a world where there's no trust. Creativity matters more than ever before. We are looking for comfort. Comfort comes from a nostalgic moment. The sound, the visceral sound, what that sound does to your vega in your brain releases a different type of endorphin than what the visual cortex does. So sound is very, very important. And then we ended up with this. The #1 app trending in TikTok last year before Apple took it away was this. This was an app that turned your iPhone into an iPod. I cannot make this shit up, dude. It's amazing. So with that, though, the joy in the little things are what people are looking for. It's beautiful. And that's the gig, man. We're looking for joy in the little things. So how does that work in the world of intelligence? Where's the joy in the little things? Where it secretly happened through this category called IoT, the Internet of Things. And I'm sure your office is full of these things, these gadgets and devices. As I call it, it's the IOE, the Internet of Everything. Why? Well, there's 127 products launched per second in this category. Some of them are humanized, like this. This is a teddy bear that has a biometric in it that you can have a kid hold it. It'll read the biometric and determine how sick it is before you rush it to hospital. And then you can hot wash this thing back to good. It's amazing. You've got this. These are little buttons that come out of the Nordic called Flick. They're $30. You can press it. You can action it to do multiple things. Close your garage door, dim your lights, favorite playlist, whatever you decide to program, these little buttons can do without you having to run around with your phone on 5% battery life. Amazing. This is a toothbrush that will brush all of your teeth all at the same time because we've been wasting about 3 minutes of our life. And the AI will tell you how bad you're doing it and you're still rubbish. You've also got this. This is connected Tupperware, brothers and sisters. I shit you not. You can buy groceries in the US, stick them all in these containers, and these containers will tell you the optimum use-by date of your groceries. I like to run old school in my house, man. I like to buy bags of spinach to watch that shit rot over 3 or 4 days. That's how I roll, man. But you can have connected technology. You've also got these incredible bathroom mirrors that will light up, check your face out, and tell you how horrible you look in the morning, and put on an amazing playlist. These are the sorts of technologies that people have for esteem. There's this category I'm calling temporary tech. You've got the ability for generative AI to rip out a bunch of tattoos you can wear on your body. These temporary tattoos could last a week or a year, depending on the supplier you use. But this is printed generative tattoos. Okay. Rabbit, this is the R1. Has anybody got this thing? It's $200. You should check it out. It's pretty amazing. It is the intermediate device between your phone and your laptop. So what we were meant to have were these services that talk to each other. I book a flight, therefore I can book a car, therefore I can book a hotel. That stuff has not been efficient ever. But the Rabbit and others are looking like this. I call it a walkie-talkie. It looks like an analog device. It feels like one. The screen is black and pixelated. It feels very nostalgic for us, but it's an intermediate service. So as it goes and mines my data in my Delta account, and I say, please go and book a flight to Heathrow, it'll look at my history, figure out my dates, look at my calendar, figure out the spot, figure out how cheap I am, figure out all those things, and without me having to confirm it, we'll go and book it. And then book a car with Lyft, who have an association. These intermediate services are coming at you. This is all Internet of Things. This is all using intelligent data. MIT is building an RFID chippable tattoo that you can wear on your body where you don't need any device. You can just do all this shit on your skin that you'd normally need a screen and a computer to do. Then you've got things like this. These are by Bose. Does anybody have these sunglasses? They've been around for a couple of years now. They're called Soundbar. They've got these beautiful speakers in the arms. And the idea of this, and it does sound amazing, so you do not need to put headphones in. They sound amazing. It bounces the sound off your jaw. It's incredible. Except the idea of this was what I call augmented awareness. As I'm walking down the street, it'll sort of whisper to me and say, Shingy, the Levi's you're looking for, turn right. There's a discount. The idea of that was to scour location-based data and send you tips and tricks and sales and things that you care about so you are more geographically aware of your surrounding. The only problem with that is COVID came along. Killed that. Second thing is, it turns out we care about our data. Who knew? Third thing is, I already have voices in my head. I do not have space for Bose. But anyhow, great idea. Thank you. But here's what's up. Smart speakers. Who has one of these? Whoa! Wow! That marketplace is absolutely enormous. It's like $40 billion. And you're speaking to a device that is speaking back to you, that's learning your data, that's speaking back to you, that's learning your data. And most of us probably don't overprogram our smart speakers. We just use it like we do as a utility, like we do our phone. But the capability of these things are amazing. Sound is critically important for a brand. So if there's any brands in the room that are trying to regenerate, that may have had jingles back in the day, that's a great way to pull a brand back out. You know whose brand I'm talking about. Check this one out. Whose is it? Intel, for the one person who has a bloody Windows laptop in this house. You with me? 2 seconds. Intel actually did a new Sonic. Nobody recognized it. They pulled it back 24 hours later to that thing. That has been their sound for the last 35 years. Intel, ripper. But here's what's up. When we think about IoT, when we think about the evolution of artificial intelligence, everybody's wondering about wearables. So do we have many wearables in the house? I see Stu's got one on. A couple of geeks in the back here. I love that. Love that, love that, love. Anybody have a Polar on? No? Anybody have a Garmin on? Yeah, okay. Runner or cyclist, guys? Yeah, you two fit dudes. Cyclist? A runner or a cyclist, brother? Yeah, all right. So these guys, perfect, thank you. Great planting. Right. Runners, cyclists, etc., do math in their head. They already understand this shit. They will not buy anything from Apple. They Polar, Garmin, awesome. If they leave their device at home, they freak out. They're doing math all day. The rest of them like, oh, iPhone, watch, whatever. It might be Apple Watch. If I don't wear that for a week, doesn't really matter. Why? My phone does the same thing, dude. And it's incredible, but there are 600 wearables. They are absolutely stunning. All of them look like old school, but these are all supercomputers on your wrist. Amazing. This is one in the category that's new. This is called DOT. This helps people who are sight impaired navigate cities because it gives it this braille conversation, which I think is amazing. This is one that I've been on the beta test of this 3 times now. This is called Pavlov. This is actually a shockable wearable. This will shock you if you do something you said you're not going to do. I probably should have brought it. If I reached for that third beer tonight, I could have just shocked the hell out of me. It's for real. A lot of women do not wear wearables because it doesn't fit with their vibe. I totally respect that. But you now have wearables where you can isolate something and change its color, like a chameleon color. So maybe match your lipstick, etc. Pretty cool, man. This is from the MIT. The gays. All right. Metaverse. If you invited me like 2 years ago when you started this thing, the only thing you'd want to talk about is this, right? Metaverse. Woo! God bless, man. It paid my rent for 2 years. But here's what's up. Immersive technologies, not that new. Not that new. Let me explain. Blockchain, 91, before some of you were born, dude. And then you've got things like this, Roblox, 2004? Wow. You look at Bitcoin, 2009, not new. And maybe NFTs in 14, and maybe Fortnite in 17 are the new kids on the block. They've only been around almost 10 years. But what's amazing to me is that the power of gamers is incredible. Anybody in here a gamer? Beautiful. Anybody play Fortnite? And do you play Fortnite with the goggles on, Boo, or do you just wear them, 2D? PlayStation? You don't put your goggles on? No, what do you got, a PlayStation or some shit? You look like a PlayStation. Xbox? PC. Oh, PC. Did anybody see Ariana Grande drop something on Fortnite live? None of us. Nobody's willing to put their hand up? Okay, so here's what's up. It looks like this. So if you want to enter the metaverse, you play Fortnite. That's pretty much the biggest domain of metaverse. Who does have VR in this room? Some of us? When's the last time you put the goggles on? Anybody? Last month? No? Anybody buy Vision Pro? Don't want to put your hand up? You did. You did? Wow, God bless you. How's that working out for you, Boo? Oh, wow. You make that sort of money? Just checking, not judging, just checking. Amazing. Good use of resources. So here's what's up for me. VR is a great, great niche experience. Your CFO will never sign off creative in VR. It's not scalable, sure as shit not shareable. So that's 2 KPIs immediately. That content will never be built in that. It's too hard and too heavy. And look, I much rather watch you with the goggles on than the content you're watching, because it's still that amazing experience. But here's the promise, and here's where we're headed. Today you're in the world of linear. You and I watch a film, you laugh, I cry, nothing changes. It's a director's point of view. Yes? Yes. Where we're headed is this, where you're putting something on and you laugh, I cry, different content comes at us based on our biometric. Vision Pro is a very good example of where that's headed, because it can actually read your emotions. It doesn't just read you. It has backwards cameras that are actually reading all your emotions and feeling your biometrics. Pretty amazing. If you're wondering where VR is,
그쵸?
AR is headed. So I think augmented reality is way more interesting than virtual reality. This is an example of a device in China that's $30. This little magic mirror will bring the physical and digital world together. Much more sort of experience for a child. It's designed for their chubby little hands. It's not like an $800 cell phone they're dicking around with. They're using this device purely for AR. Pretty amazing, huh? Here's the opposite of that, the living room. So current future trends for the living room is the opposite of what we're seeing today. Nobody's sitting in front of a massive television in their living room. They want more discrete technology in their living room for their entertainment. They want it to turn up when they want it. They want it to go away when they don't. Does anybody have this television, the Samsung frame? It's like $1,500 in the US. Do you have version 1 or version 2, young lady? You, who turned around. Do you have version 1 or version 2? 2? Oh, excuse me, fancy pants. When you turn it on, oh, got both, very big televisions. Thank you very much. Put a frame around it, by the way. Wood one or a, oh, God bless. Let me ask you a question. When you turn that on and you come into the room, does it dim the lights? The lights in the room? Yes. No, the television. Does it, because you've come into the living room, does it get brighter because of, yeah. Let me back up that. So when you come into the room, you turn the lights off, for example, that Samsung television will dim its lights back. When you turn the lights on, it'll brighten in the room. You no longer have to use a remote control. That is artificial intelligence and hardware in the wild, in that device for the last 5 years. Nobody knows about it. It's just working beautifully. Version 1 doesn't do that though, does it? Your old TV won't do that. But it's pretty incredible. You guys are a couple or something? Because you, oh yeah, okay. So you have his and hers TVs. How very cute. But here's what's up. This is my favorite piece of tech I've seen for the last dozen years. This is a plank of wood from Japan. And when I want a graphical user interface to turn up, it turns up like this. And when I don't, it falls away. You can't even see the dots. Beautiful. Beautiful. It looks like wood, it smells like wood, it acts like wood because it's wood. So we're seeing more discrete technology, not things that are like a 110-inch TV in your living room. You with me? So there's something happening in the technology space. But I will tell you, with all of this stuff I just showed you, understand that it's not a destination. We don't have to wait for Meta to bombard you with all these messages that the metaverse is the pants. We don't, because it's a mindset. And if you want to participate in that space today, just go out and play Fortnite. Stop buying NFTs. Just go out and play Fortnite. That's a really good entree to what this interactive world looks like. And if you want to know what the true social network is, it's Discord. That's the place to hang. It's amazing. And go and play with Twitch if you want to. That's the kind of future platforms. But what about today? If we've got this mindset and all this built-in intelligence, as marketers in the room, you're going to ask me, so what? Good question. Well, look, we started out with cinema. We went to television. We came along to the smartphone, and now we have the wearables, and maybe it's just audio. And if it's just audio, good luck. So that's the future, apparently. But it's not. What a hell of a way to end, right? We're only halfway there. But here's the deal. Anybody here have a marketing degree? A couple of us. Did you learn the 4 Ps? Do you remember when the 4 Ps were invented, young lady in the back? Yes, you with the bob. When was it? Yeah, you want to give me a date? What do you reckon? Close. 1948. Who else studied marketing in here? Yeah, so slightly older. Some of the younger, yeah, you, super young young lady. Did they teach you that shit in school? Yeah, 1948. Do you think they should be teaching that at school? Let's talk to Ariel. Clearly not. My God. Okay, it's been updated, guys. Partnership, platform, pedigree, performance. They're the 4 Ps, not that rubbish. And so what's amazing for me is it speaks more like a partnership, a B2B vernacular than it does B2C. And it really does, truly have to do that. Why? Because every single brand that I know has outsourced their brand to third parties that they don't own. But because the crowd's that way, they've decided to go that way. And I think there's a trend back against that. When I was a young creative, there was only 7 places I had to worry about putting media. Today, every CMO, and the vast majority of them, have an anxiety attack because building advocacy happens in a lot of different places than just the popular places you think are just social. It's amazing. And what's amazing to me is that there's still only 3 elements that we have to worry about. It's sight, sound, and motion to drive emotion. Why? 75% of purchase decisions today are made emotionally. We sell to the heart to justify to the head. And that's the power of this thing. That's why this industry is so exciting. Now, I grew up in Oz, as you know. That's the town I'm from, a little bullshit town in the middle of nowhere. That's my house. That's my family. I'm one of 10 kids. That's 12 people in a 2-bedroom house and a shit ton of therapy I'm still trying to get through. But I can tell you that Chinese Catholics, we are unstoppable, dude. Unstoppable. But I will say that I'm of the generation that freedom, independence, and self-expression came when I was 17. And I bought my first car. That's me, first planker on the planet Earth. That's why I'm a prophet. But here's what's up. Today's kids are born connected, aren't they? 37% of children under the age of 2 can operate a swiping device better than the parent. You give them analog, they just think that shit's broken. Kid, crazy. But here's what's up. When we think about audiences, and I do want you to think about archetypes more so, the only thing that your clients are going to want to talk about is that audience, isn't it? Oh, actually, they're probably still talking about Gen Z, right? Half of you, and then the other half are millennial, poor bastards. Bless. But here's what's up. You have to worry about this crowd. Why? There's, look, 2.8 million of them born per week. This is an enormous audience that are going to be the founders. They want to be called founders, not Generation Alpha. It's gross, poor little bastards. What's the eldest alpha? Does anybody know? 13. So some of you probably have 13-year-olds. They're in the alpha generation. 13 and below, all alpha. Kids born today, all alpha. They're all part of the great screen age. It wasn't millennial. No, millennials will still run around with cameras and LPs and whatnot. But here's what's up. They also talk Earth first, don't they? They also care about things like carbon footprint. That's why Oatly became a runaway brand, because they actually put carbon footprint on their actual products. They care about this stuff because they know the young audience care about this. They talk about sustainability. They talk about authenticity. What's a brand that does that? Patagonia. Patagonia is an amazing brand. Anybody, you guys, that's familiar to you, I assume? You sell it. God bless you. Could you also influence them to get a great designer? Because that shit looks way too tech geek for me, dude. We need the fintech boys to lay off those vests. Yeah, heads up. But here's what I love about this brand. Here's what I love about this brand, though, man. Wow, they wear their values on their sleeve. Do you want a brand that rocks it? These guys just know. They're in the I don't give a shit basket. I care about you. To not destroy the earth, so don't buy this jacket and upcycle as much as you can. And when it's going to vaporize, bring it into the store and we will upsell you to something delicious. They care about things. They don't advertise their brand so much, they advertise their cause. They also do these posters made of Tyvek that allow you to cut the square off and repatch your clothing. Phenomenal brand. A brand that understands that this is not a word that they care about because we are consuming too much. You are not a consumer, and do not call an audience you're targeting a consumer. That is an arrogant position because you're assuming that they're your audience. And they're not your audience, they're a suspect at best. So consumers consuming content, old school. We're talking about these guys. We're talking about this, the creator, the critic, and the curator of experiences. So much that you're running a competition today just on who can come up with the best social content because you have to be a creator, a critic, and a curator. You are this generation, this slash generation. I'm just trying this out on you because I wrote the book in the last 48 hours and I hope to God it works. But here's what's up for me. When I talk about this generation, it's this. I'm a slash blogger, a DJ, a VJ, etc., etc. And what's amazing about it, truthfully, is they will go to extremes still. So this is not new, but the extreme selfies is still a vibe, dude. This is the second tallest building in Hong Kong. People go to extremes. So if you guys want to win the competition today, you better do something better with the skateboard than the shit you're doing. Just kidding. Well, let's get to a tower and figure that thing out. I want to see more broken hands or some shit. You feel me, brother? Yeah. But it's not just about the extreme selfie. It's the extreme self. And this is a beautiful time for this young generation to be alive because they can actually express themselves physically, digitally, spiritually. It's amazing. But they love in real life experiences, and that's the amen. Most of your life is going to be lived in real life, not through digital experiences. They also love communities, but that's amazing to think about. If they love real life and they love community of others, how can we help express that in the ecosystem? Because their life is completely imperfect, as ours is. And that's why, to Joe's point, when you fast experiment with content and the question about how do you know, you don't know, but you can be forgiven by trying. And that's the new. That's what's changed today. But the reality is, when you try and open and close your phone, how many times on average do you think people open and close their phone and Face ID that doesn't see me every day? Anybody know? It's on average about 1,000 times. That number might go down today because you guys seem pretty patient, which has been amazing, but the rest of the time, we're jittery, aren't we? There's a piece of plastic. It's the size, weight, and size of an iPhone. It's called the No Phone. It's always sold out. When people want a digital detox on that shit, they buy a piece of plastic they have in their pants versus the phone, which blows my mind, man, because we're part of this generation. What's this called? Attention deficit. Yeah, very close. Do you say courage? Oh, marriage. Oh, I thought you said courage. I'm like, amen. He's like, marriage. He's been single for a decade. Who knew? But here's what's up, man. It's called fubbing. And it only takes two of us to snub each other. As soon as we're having this beautiful conversation, you rip out your phone. I'm like, what? And it takes 5 people to do that phenomenon. You're like, oh, look, what are we all looking at? It takes 5. It only takes 2 of us to do this. But what I want to tell you is that the world, as we know, is overwhelming. You're hit with 1,500 media messages per day, then it's underwhelming because you cannot find what you're looking for. Search is rubbish. And so when you think about this, one of the largest contributors to stress today is media overload. So here's the bad news. The stuff you're producing on behalf of the brand you represent is stressing people out and killing them. Just kidding. Ish. But here's what's really new. Don't think about it as being the attention. It's not. The moment somebody unlocks their phone and participates in your brand, it's an intention. It's a totally different activity than the passive doom scrolling that every other entertainment and social network in the world is trying to get you to participate in. I will tell you, the dirty little secret, still 99.1. Most of the content you're seeing out there is produced by 1% of the audience. That's why the growth is exponentially. 9% of people comment, 90% of people just scroll. Those media numbers were how we used to do publishing old school. The same numbers is how it's done today on all platforms. That's why you're seeing that content regurgitated. And don't tell me you don't, because that shit is coming around at you all the time. And you cannot say no. This, however, is where intimacy is made. Don't you think? Anybody pick up their phone because they got a text or they're just completely bored with me? But here's what's up. I have very few friends. So when I see those bubbles turn up, I'm like all in. It's amazing how this thing can hold your attention. And then it goes away. I'm like, what happened? I thought we're into it. Here is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Ad blocking. Anybody in this room brave enough to tell me they have an ad blocker? What? Cameraman, do you work for the agency, boo? No. Look at that smile. Little bastard. So here's what's up. If I go to a high school, or if I go to a university level, as you see, I do that work, and I ask who has ad blockers, about 90+% of the people put their hand up. That's a problem, people. There's 1 billion ad blockers installed today. It is incredibly challenging for us. Given that's the case, we're trying to get around them. How do we get around them? We have to go to where the audiences are. It's no longer about the mass. In my humble opinion, it's about the niche. If you go to Reddit, you never hang out at the homepage of Reddit, you hang out in the subreddits. If you hang out on TikTok, you never hang out on TikTok, you hang out in the channels of interest. It's all about niches and new mass. It's also friends over ads. Friends over ads. Look at this. Peer-to-peer, massively. Word of mouth, massive. You're sitting there going, but Shingy, these are old school metrics. Yes, but that's what we care about as humans, and that's the beauty of it. Now look, my entire career was funded by big ads, little content. Yes? Yours too, probably. How many of you work on content marketing in this room? Hands up. Okay, that number is going to radically change. It's all going to go like that. Let me prove it to you. So in 2022, not that long ago, the entire content global marketing budget was $16 billion. That's predicted to go in just 2 years to that, $500 billion. The entire global marketing budget is set at $1 trillion. Half of it will be content marketing. Why? Ad blocking is a very big problem. Content is no longer the queen, by the way. Context is. Context. Build good content, put it in smart places. Easy for me to say, incredibly difficult to do, but that's the job. And here's what's amazing. Your job is to inspire, obviously, to educate, obviously, entertain, because everything today is an ad. So let's talk about that. What can you do that's better than the machine? Great question. Let's talk about that a little bit. You can create stuff that is cultured. Now let me explain what that means. Here's brand permission in the wild. If you look at these 3 beautiful things, it's unique to the brand, it is authentic to its brand, and it solves a problem. That's permission for you to experiment, try and figure out, come up with new models and fail or succeed. But if you don't have this combination correct, you probably shouldn't do it, whatever that means in your definition of your category. But I will tell you that in your category is where you will fail. So if you really want to understand where disruption happens, it happens right there, in the middle of it. You have to get out of your category to get into the culture, just as somebody like Cambridge did, to understand that the whole time they were looking to disrupt themselves, it could have been a cultural moment that they were not looking at because they probably stayed in their category for too long. But right there is where disruption happens, and that's the amen. Who watched the Olympics recently? Who watched it on television? Of same hands. Who watched it on socials? Who watched it on entertainment platforms like TikTok? YouTube? Okay. Telly? Sweet Jesus. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Hello, who's this dude? This athlete blew my mind. This blew my mind. None of this stuff was the bullseye of the Olympics. It's all within the culture of the category outside of itself. This guy, rock and roll, we all know about this. This guy's commentary around the uniforms of the Olympians, amazing. This was just phenomenal work that blew my mind because the category was radically, radically different. None of this was the bullseye of the sports. And it's interesting because the amount of content that was produced around the subculture of the Olympics was greater than the actual broadcast of the Olympics. The other thing that's important is perception. So that's been scratched upon here today. in many of the types of values that you talked about. But perception is incredibly important because there's a perception versus a reality. And a good example of that is this. What brand is this? Harley. Anybody owning Harley in here? Okay, but when you close your eyes and dream about Harley, don't you dream of this? I sure do. I'd love to be that Fonda dude. But the reality is, that's the rider, man. So, hey, can't deny it. Perception versus reality, it is what it is. But there's something very powerful about understanding that that's part of the gig. So, a couple of things for you to take away. Craft matters. I fundamentally believe that as a designer, it matters. Who knows what these are? Toothpick? Anybody know who invented the toothpick? Let's try this then. Anybody notice little ridges at the back of your toothpick? Anybody know that they serve a purpose? All right, I'll give you two things. The Pomeranian trust fall, that was one. The second thing is this. Have you ever noticed you've got little ridges at your toothpick? It's invented by the Japanese, by the way. And if you break that off, it becomes a rest for your toothpick. Just like you've got a rest for your chopstick, a rest for your bowl, a rest for your napkin. Conscious design matters. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Look at this. I mean, hello. Jeez, they would have paid dearly for that. God bless them. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You want me to draw ketchup?
Okay.
Ketchup.
Draw ketchup.
Sorry, I should draw anything. Food, ketchup, bottle, or something.
I don't think I'm doing this right.
That's not a ketchup bottle. That's a shampoo.
Then I guess a tomato here.
You ready to see the masterpiece? Heinz.
Heinz bottle.
I don't even know if I spelled the name right.
You see anything?
Heinz ketchup
Got a
bottle.
little bit old school.
I don't know. It's like the only ketchup that I know.
With mustard.
That's mustard.
Yeah.
There's always one. So let me show you a couple that I think is amazing. You're going to either love this or be repulsed by it. But IKEA, super smart brand, have a great creative shop in-house. They wanted to invent some innovation for print. They did a print ad that allows you that if you're pregnant, you pee on it. And if you're positive pregnant, it'll just discount, it'll show a highly discounted price on the page. So you're going to love that or hate it, but that's, God bless them. You've got this thing. This is Lacoste. They've replaced the crocodile with a limited edition series of t-shirts of endangered species, limited to the number of species. This entire thing sold out in 24 hours. You can only buy these t-shirts on the black market, which apparently is where we still buy the animals because we suck as humans. That's us. Vietnam, they did this. They replaced all these Coca-Cola bottle tops with things that become useful. Pencil sharpener, bubble blower, water pistol. So we don't have things ending up in the middle of the planet, in the waterways, in all this plastic that's red. One of the values for Coca-Cola is they want the world to make sure it's recycling, yet they're one of the biggest issues in the planet. So they're trying to mitigate that by making things that are trash-worthy to actually become utility. Pretty amazing. We talked about Liquid Death earlier. Who knows that brand, Liquid Death? Okay, can I show of hands who's tried it? Pretty much, almost all those names. Okay. Anybody know its market share? Could you tell me? Yeah, do you know what that is in the overall category? Yeah, but in terms of its share, percentage-wise. Yeah, it's tiny. Liquid Death is absolutely tiny, but its mind share for consumers is absolutely gigantic because they do amazing work.
Should I go ahead and put the blindfold on?
Put it on.
So,
Can you see?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. What do you think?
I like that.
It's sweet.
That one's pretty good.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yuck.
So between the two, would you?
Yeah, that one might make me myself, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Do you need the bucket?
I might really vomit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll just move on. That's Andy in San Francisco, by the way. But let's carry on. So we could sit here and watch that thing for 10 minutes, right? That was an amazing piece of work. But what's amazing to me is that just realness matters. So if a brand wants to have access over ownership as one of their values, then access via realness is very, very powerful. Let me explain a story. So this is a very interesting case study by EOS. You guys know this, I hope. There's a young lady called Killjoy. She's a fitness trainer, very strong young lady. She also teaches women how to shave their lady bits. And she did this independent review of all these shave creams. And she fell in love with this one. And the EOS decided to send her a limited edition range of shave creams with her salty language on it. And she lost her mind, and so did the internet. But let me just explain something to you, why this is important. Two things happened. One, that limited edition range had 3,000% traffic hit their website, crashed it. And they went from nowhere to the #1 selling brand, male and female, for a shave cream. It's not called that, of course. It's called shave cream at Target. So pretty amazing what can happen when you listen to an audience that really gives a shit about your product and you reflect them back as their own brand. And that gives you ownership totally different when it's democratized. Very powerful. But you also need to invent. So I wanted to throw just a couple more in. You guys with me for another 5 minutes and then we're done? All right, let's do this. In this world of homogenizedness, everything seems to be the same, unless you're going to drive around in a Cybertruck, if you're going to be that guy. Good for you. No judgment, apparently. I'm not a big fan of Tesla. I love the driving experience, not a fan of the design. A bit too pedestrian for me. But the truth is this, the car is amazing. And not because it's electric, because they have insane mode. Anybody have a Tesla in here? So when you have somebody sit in your car, brother, and you have them put on, it drives them crazy, right? Yeah, so check it.
Now I'm just gonna launch it. So I put it in sport and insane mode, and then you just hit it.
Whoa!
And that's 60. So you don't expect it, right? Isn't that neat?
That's awesome.
I'm really mad that the option is insane. Like, it's not like just.
Why? That's perfect. Isn't that good?
That's a random, like. What's the
Because
feature?
the car is insane, right? Everyone thinks the car is insane, so why not have, you know, like an insane mode, right?
That makes sense.
So you just come to like a complete stop.
All right.
And then before you know it, you just jam.
Oh shit, Brooks! What the fuck?
70 miles
Again,
an hour.
we could sit here and
Brooks,
go on and on. This has got nothing to do with
shit!
saving the
Yo,
planet.
first of all, you can't fucking do
This is
that.
just doing something completely different. That zig and zag analogy, love the zig and zag analogies. So when we think about this, it's a real hard recruitment today. Some people's first job is to turn up at McDonald's and work. They don't want to wear those bloody uniforms. McDonald's was smart enough to hire a designer, a badass designer from the Nordics, to come up with this incredible street gear. I'd rather wear that crap. Amazing. It's amazing. In France, they actually tried this. Brand changed the action of the turnstile by putting their wind blade on it. And it generates, this test generates enough turbine energy to power the entire subway system. That's inventiveness. So if you're going to utilize 10%, that's the 10% that I would suggest you do. So the heat really is this, my friends. We've heard a lot about story today. That's great. But a lot of what you still do is performance. Buy one, get one free, blah, blah. It does what it says on the tin. That's performance. God bless. That's our industry, whatever. Story is only part of it. I think the real opportunity, particularly as we move into this decade of intelligence and the ability to create content at speed, not just at culture, that's a totally different discussion, but at speed, allows you to experiment, you can figure out feel. And I would argue that you and I would know the difference between immediately in the physical world, the sensorialness of products. If we were to go out and step into whoever's Porsches out there today, we jump in the the car and close those doors, that sound you immediately know is luxurious. The smell of the leathers, you'll know. The feel, the sensorialness of the seats, the dashboard. We know we're in a luxury vehicle, yes? Versus an economy vehicle. We know in milliseconds. Yet in all these digital experiences we're doing this on, that sensorial experience is not so vivid. That is a massive opportunity moving forward, is the feel of a brand digitally. So I was funded in a career that make people want stuff. I want you to reframe this and turn it around to make stuff that people want. Then it becomes contagious. I leave you with this. The truth, hey man, I may not be invited back, so why not finish with a fart joke? But here's what's up. The number one ingredient in every single piece of content on planet Earth that's going to make it contagious, the number one secret ingredient, my friends, is surprise. And the truth is, this is my favorite quote of all time. It's by Katharine Hepburn. If you obey all the rules, you miss all the goddamn fun. And isn't that the reason we became creatives? Thanks very much indeed, guys. Take care. God bless. Thanks. You good?